29 years at EMU now for you. When you think back of it, one, does it just seem like a blink of the eye and it's gone? Because you've won 3 MAC titles, 3
Right.
MAC Coach of the Years. You've sent a lot of people onto the professional ranks. What's your proudest moment?
Well, proudest moments, obviously, just watching them grow as young men from being freshmen to seniors or fifth-year seniors. Even this class right now, where you got, you got Blaze, Ty, Cougar. It's just watching the development and them graduating from Eastern Michigan. I mean, but then professionally, it's the relationships that you have with all the other coaches. We're fortunate in our sport. You play against 12 to 15 to 18 teams at every tournament, so all those relationships that you've made. But boy, the MAC championships and the NCAA regionals that we played at Georgia Tech, at Ohio State, and at Washington. Corey Mahoney, getting to go with him where he gets out at the regional at Notre Dame, and we go to Caves Valley to play in the national championship. Incredible moment. And being with Chris Ross at Oklahoma State in the regional when they got to go as individuals. But there's nothing like team golf. I mean, I think those guys would even trade all that in to go with a team. And we were fortunate to experience that 3 times, playing 3 regionals and be really close on a couple of occasions. And obviously winning is rare in Division I golf because there's 12 to 20 teams at each tournament. So any of those wins, I think maybe the Kepler winning at Ohio State, I think it was 2009. I might have it might have been 2010. But for me, just growing up in Ohio and my father having both his undergrad and his master's from there, that one was pretty special for the regular season.
What's your earliest golf memory? How did you get into golf?
With my grandfather and my father. I was fortunate to grow up in a small college town in Ashland, Ohio, and the country club was right there. Just going out with my father, you could play 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you're back in the club, back at the club, just getting on the cart. I mean, just like what some of the people say now, it's like have your son or daughter get in the cart with you and get them out there, let them hit the ball a couple times. I think I remember through pictures, but I was out there when I was 2 or 3 playing, and those memories with my father and my grandfather, and just having access, and that's okay to be out there and just to enjoy it. And I was fortunate, growing up in Ashland where golf was important, right? We didn't have soccer. We didn't have lacrosse. It was just basketball, football, baseball, and golf. And I was fortunate to, be able to fit all those sports in, be a multi-sport athlete. So that was, growing up in Ashland, Ohio and being around all the college coaches, all the high school coaches, that was really important in my development.
Your kids played golf. You've certainly mentored hundreds of kids over the years as the head coach. What lessons do you think golf teaches you that translate into real life?
Oh, there's so many of them. Just accountability, teamwork, being on time. To be on time is to be late. Just little things like that. But it's how to get along with everybody. But punctuality, accountability, and look, a work ethic, and being part of a bigger picture. Like, it's one thing to be in your own program and to want to be in the lineup, but then you get in the lineup. It's the progressions that you learn that you have to make, not only in college but then in life. And I think a lot of these guys have been wildly successful afterwards, and I take great pleasure in that they get through the program, they get their degree, but then all those things that they learn, they use them in their everyday life. It's pretty special.
As you look ahead to the schedule, you're going to start off with match play down in Florida.
Right.
Always an exciting event because you get to see guys, you get to develop those moments, living in the villas for a few days together. Right. What makes that event so special?
Well, I think for us, it's a great way to start. We get 2 practice rounds before we even see live bullets. So one thing, it's getting all the reps in, and it's great to look, winning and losing sometimes isn't always up to you, and especially in match play, the other guy can get really hot. So it's a nice way to have all the putts mean anything. Every shot means something. Whether you win 2-1, lose 2-1. Obviously, we want to win rather win 2-1 than lose 2-1. But it's a good way for us to start, and the camaraderie of all those guys of our team staying in the same villa. We're cooking our meals, we eat there, we don't move for like 4 or 5 days, and it's a great way to just gel, and they get all the great reps in. It's exactly it's exactly what we have to do to get ready for our first stroke play event.
When you move into the stroke play event, you set up your calendar so you get a lot of competitive rounds against some really top caliber teams. How do you go about building your schedule?
Well, it's similar to basketball, only we, as head coaches, are responsible for our own strength of schedule. But you also have to figure out the 500 record. You can knock the ball out of the park. You need to make sure you're over the 500 record. That's the one thing in our sport. You have to have over a 500 record. And it's, whether it's the RPI in basketball, for us, it's just strength of schedule. And it's relationships. It's about your brand. We've got, over the 28, 29 years, we've got a really good brand, and I've developed some really good relationships. However, you need to have talent, and they want to know what your golf week ranking is, your national ranking. They want to know what your golf stat ranking is, and that's your brand. And it's extremely important in our sport. It's probably one of the most critical elements as a head coach, is because in other sports, athletic director or the conference sets the schedule. In our sport, it's the head coach and the relationships, and you just hope that you can get in the events that you need to get in.
We've talked a lot with the guys about building that rivalry throughout the course of the season, and of course it circles back to Eastern and Kent State at the end of the year a lot of times. And when you think back to those years that you and Herb and Kent have battled, as much as there is rivalry, there's also a lot of mutual respect between the two programs, isn't there?
Oh, a lot of respect, yeah. But that competition, and we do see each other maybe a couple times in the regular season, depending on the year. But yeah, it's the focus, right? You have to have a rival. It's important in any sport, and for us, we know who it is. And look, there's others. There's Northern Illinois, Ball State, but everybody just knows it kind of goes through Kent State, and you just have to accept it. It's nothing to shy away from. We've just accepted it, and obviously we won back-to-back, I think in 2007, 2008, and again here in 2019. So when we get in that situation, each guy has a role, and they know what has to be done, and Kent State's always putting it out there. So you got to bring your best. And over 4 rounds, now it's 3 rounds, but before it was 4 rounds, but now it's 3 rounds, so it's 1 less. And hey, you just got to bring your best each and every time. But we're looking forward to it this year.
Last question, I'll get you out of there on this. You think of the investment that Eastern Michigan has made in golf over the years, from when you started to where you are now. You've got the bubble that works. You can go to Miles. You've got simulators downstairs now that you never used to have. And still on the horizon is a full golf facility for you guys. How much is still the future really very bright for this program and this university?
Yeah, it keeps evolving. I mean, it's incredible in our sport, like just the arms race of facilities, scheduling, and then recruiting, right? It's the lifeblood. So it's to have the backing and really the ownership of what do we need? How do we stay? How do we keep our brand where it needs to be? And our sport just keeps evolving. So yeah, to have that support to get us kind of push us into the next generation, it's critical. And we've got a great recruiting class coming in this year. And yeah, you just have to have, the bells and whistles that's expected of you always hear about Power 5, but really in golf,
Mm-hmm.
you only have to be 5 deep. Like you don't have to be, 5 players out of 8 guys. Yeah. If you have 5 awesome players, rest takes care of itself. And like in football, sometimes you have to be 2 or 3 deep at every position. But in golf, it's a sport that we can be extremely competitive on a national level. We've already proven it, but really to keep going in the right direction, it's what's needed. And very, very fortunate to have the support of the university and the booster group from Game Above.